Sunrise Automotive will treat you right. Will treat you right.
All right. Yes. What? What? No.
Nobody.
No. Okay. Okay. Good morning. It is time to do a show. 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. Matt Gibbs is in the studio from Sunrise Automotive and Crossroad Auto Sales, and we're going to talk about cars. And your phone calls are an important part of the show. The show is called Auto Repair with Personal Care, so call 622-9622. Maybe save a few dollars if Matt can help you figure out how to do it yourself. I'm not a do-it-yourselfer, so that's why I just come to you. Rob and I are the same way. We just something goes wrong, bring it to Matt. So, and you don't mind, right?
No, I don't.
You like seeing us, don't you?
Yes.
You have that Keurig coffee machine out in your office. I haven't used it yet, but it's there.
It's there.
Do a lot of people use that?
Oh, yeah.
How come I don't hear you too
I've
much?
never used it.
You're not a coffee
I show
drinker?
people how to use it. I've never had a cup of coffee in my life.
Really? It's just not your beverage of choice, huh?
It's, when it's brewing.
Smells good, right?
Oh, my gosh. And then you put it to your lips, and it's like, how good something that smells that good tastes so bad.
It's like cigars. Cigars smell way better than they taste.
Yeah.
Do you like cigars?
Or in pipe. Like,
And a pipe, yeah. Oh, yeah. It smells so
my
good.
grandfather used to smoke a pipe.
But did you ever smoke anything?
Am I allowed to say that on the air?
Did you like the taste
I never inhaled, Larry. I never inhaled.
But did you like the taste of it?
No.
No. It's never really
I
about
don't think it's like you got to suffer.
You got to
make yourself.
It's an
like
acquired thing.
Yeah, an acquired thing. You're hacking and coughing and throwing up, and then eventually you'll swallow it.
Do you? Okay, there was an article I handed it to you, and it was about the innovations in cars, and the first one intrigued me because it was ignitions. I guess starters, and I'm trying to think back before there were starters and keys that cranked up cars. We had to crank the handle in the front. Okay, so I have so many questions about that. Could anybody steal a car back in those days?
Yeah.
You just crank it and go.
Yeah, just going with it.
But could you run faster than the car and catch up to the thief?
You could probably be pretty close.
Hey, get out of my car! And he can't really close the door. I mean, because they were sitting outside. I mean, it wasn't enclosed back in those days.
You got to stop and think. Right before that era, we had horses.
Yeah.
Okay, so. I mean, it's like you ride your horse into town and you take the little rope and wrap it around the little fence thing.
That's true.
You
can steal a horse pretty easy.
Yeah,
too.
you can steal a horse pretty. So I think there was a different element of trust and honesty.
So think about it. Somebody must have been sitting in their car and said, "Oh man, I got to crank it. I forgot." And then they said, "Too bad there's not a key." So how would I do that? Well, you'd need to have a machine that turns the cranker. Oh, we'll call that a starter.
Call that the starter.
And that's an innovation that
It's everything on the car.
We take it for granted, though.
It's amazing. Just even though you had to hand crank it, okay?
Right.
The thought process that came in just to make the internal combustible engine is phenomenal.
It is. It is really.
It's really
and to make it quiet, because the first cars were kind of like motorcycles, weren't they? They were very noisy.
Oh yeah, noisy. Yeah. When I first got into the business, I was real young, and I got tagged up or teamed up with this old guy. He was just an old guy that been working at the dealership forever. Okay. And when he retired, he gave me this box. And in the box, it's a wood box. I still have it today. You open it up, and it's all these little pieces of leather, and it's got this little knife, and it's got a little jumpsuit. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't put it. I could never wear the jumpsuit. It looked like for a 10-year-old. but it came with a jumpsuit, a knife, and a bunch of different pieces of leather, so that when your main bearings or rod bearings went out on your engine on the way to church or whatever, you put on your little jumpsuit, you crawl underneath there, and you change out the bearings, and you crank it back up, and away you go.
No, can you imagine doing that?
That would be, that's the way it was. And it wasn't that long ago.
Well, do you think people were resistant? Like a lot of people, I don't like the idea of no carburetor, or I don't like the idea of some of the newer changes. Some people say that. Do you think somebody said, I don't like the idea of a key?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was so blessed computers really made their mark in the auto industry in 1980 and a half. Okay? And in 1980 and a half is when they put the onboard computer, and it was a dual board onboard computer. It was slower than molasses, but that was the beginning stages of where we are today.
Right.
And I remember I was very young at the time, and I remember these cars are coming in, the carburetors became electronic, everything started going electronic, and I worked in a dealership that was just full of a bunch of older guys. And when that stuff started coming out, they said, I don't want to have nothing to do with none of this stuff. Nothing.
They were all resistant to it.
They were all resistant to it. And it's because they spent...
And were you in agreement with them?
No.
You thought it was cool.
I'm thinking, dude, I was like the youngest employee.
So you saw the benefit of it.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I saw what was happening.
That's cool. And it's just amazing how thank God for young people. We would never change if we didn't have young people.
That's right.
Everything would be the same. Are you ready for the first phone call of the show? The number is 622-9622 if you'd like to be second, third, fourth, or fifth. Good morning. You're on the air with Matt.
Good morning, Matt. I can remember my first car was a 57 Chevy, and about the ignition, you put a key in there and you went from lock to unlock, and then you could take the key out.
Yeah.
And if you were riding around for the whole day and you were stopping and going, you would just turn the ignition off, and when you do your thing, and then come back to the car and start it up again without using the key.
Yep.
So, I guess what's old is new again. But anyway, the new cars are phenomenal. I find that getting harder and harder for me to get into one car that I have, because I just don't bend as well as I used to. And the newer cars that I'm looking at that have that backup camera, I think that is one tremendous improvement as far as trying to get out of a space, especially when you're in a parking lot where the lanes are indicated by arrows, one way down, one way up, and alternating directions. And you're backing out, and there's a guy coming up the wrong way.
Right.
And I think these cameras are fantastic, especially if you got little kids running around. I never seen anything like it today. Little kids are out there, 4 or 5 years old, and they're running through the parking lot for crying out loud. People are trying to get out. They're not looking for, rugrats running around. But, these cameras and stuff, I think, are actually very good. So, anyway.
Yeah, I think so, too, yeah.
Some stuff is good, and some stuff I guess they can keep. But anyway, thanks for taking the call.
Thank you.
Day.
All right, so we have, after you today, Matt, we have a lady coming on for a few minutes, and she's going to talk about, she's a gerontologist. She studies old people. And she's looking, it's a survey looking at whether drivers age 50 plus will purchase a self-driving car and be comfortable using the new technology. I guess they're wondering, are these cars going to sell to the older population, or are we going to be stubborn, us older people? Are we going to say, no way, I'm going to keep my hands on that wheel? And
well, I think I'm not no scientist or anything like that, but it just seems like, I think someone like you would be more apt to do it than others, and I'll tell you why. We're sitting in the studio here
right,
at WOCA, and you can remember what it was to work in radio 25 years, 30 years ago,
right,
when there was reels and when people used to have to be here 24/7. But here it is, everything has gone computerized. I look at your digital board, and you got computer monitors all around you, and you're able to type and talk and all at the same time. So it seems like you've adapted pretty well to your industry. Your industry went from reels,
that's right, yeah,
8 tracks, and you've progressed along with it. So you have that type of mentality that says, I can learn this, or I can do this, and when it comes to this new technology and stuff like that, you might say, I'll give that a shot. I think it would be nice getting in the car and sleeping to work at 3 o'clock in the morning. So but then there are those that probably was in your industry and everything started changing and going to electronics and computer and said, I'm done.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
And I know I've seen it in my industry. There's been times when I'm looking at cars now, I've been doing this for a little over 30 years, and I'm looking at cars now saying, dude, this is getting crazy. I mean, the technology that's coming out is just phenomenal.
I think for me, and this happened in radio, by the way, that I'd have to be comfortable with it first. If I'm going to get in a car that just doesn't, I don't have to do anything other than tell it where to go, I'm going to be nervous at first until I'm. Do you know what I mean? It's
I think everybody would.
It's like when we got the automated computers and everything. Guess what? I still had around me. I still had one reel-to-reel, one turntable, and 3 cart machines, and I still had them there. And then eventually, I was still using them, kind of in in conjunction. Yeah. Right. So maybe I would have a steering wheel. Traffic is heavy right now. I think I'll take over. Thank you very much. All right, we'll take a little break. There's a question I wanted to ask you about a story. One of the stars, a 27-year-old guy, was a star actor of the movie Star Trek, and he died because his car was in, I guess, neutral, and he didn't know it. And they're blaming the technology. Did you hear the story? All right, I'll tell you when we come back. Actually, I'll tell you during the break, so that way you're kind of informed. And then we'll be right back, and I'll kind of sum it up for the listeners. All right, we'll be right back. If you want to call the show, it's 622-9622. We'll be right back with Matt.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accidents. For this Tuesday, a mix of sun and clouds, high 85 to 89. And mainly clear Tuesday night, low 68 inland, 73 along the coast. For Wednesday, plenty of sunshine, the high 88 to 92. And for Thursday, sunshine mixing with clouds, there can be a passing thunderstorm, the high 90 to 94. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
It's the end of the fiscal year, and that means budget cuts and number crunching. Now's the time of the year you're evaluating your expenses, planning your budget, and finding ways to save money and increase efficiency to maximize profits. Dex Imaging understands and delivers. Call Dex Imaging today for a free document management evaluation. Cutting your office expenses is as easy as calling Dex Imaging. 352-266-0333. Start saving money today and increase your bottom line with Dex Imaging. Printers, copiers, and fax machines that increase office productivity and save you money. No one understands your bottom line better. Call Dex Imaging today, 352-266-0333, or check them out on the web at deximaging.com. That's DEXimaging.com. Or call 352-266-0333 for your free document management evaluation today.
We're saving thousands with Robert Palmer.
So rule number 1 is always shop around. Always shop around. If you're trying to get a mortgage, if you're trying to get the best credit card, if you're looking at student loans, cell phone bills, you name it, rule number 1 is always shop around. Always shop around.
That's rule number 1, just one more vital part of fighting back to stop being a financial zombie. Yes, you can take the mystery out of the complicated world of finances. Take charge when it comes to your money. Listen in on The Source, 96.3 FM and 1370 AM, Saturdays at 12:05.
Yeah, I'm that drip coming down from the corner of the room. But where did I come from? I'll never tell.
Bone Dry Roofing can and will fix it right the first time using quality materials and will deal honestly and fairly with you, period. You can find Bone Dry Roofing on their website, bonedryroofingllc.com, and Facebook at Bone Dry Roofing LLC. Do it right before your roof needs a tarp to keep the elements out. Bone Dry Roofing stands behind their work to help make your home safe and secure. Plus, they have financing available. Remember, if you're not bone dry, then you're all wet.
All right, 19 minutes after 10 o'clock, 82 degrees. Matt Gibbs is here. The show is called Auto Repair with Personal Care. And if you want to call, the number is 622-9622. So during the break, Matt, I was telling you about a news item about this young star, 27-year-old guy, died because his car, a Jeep Cherokee, rolled into him. He thought it was in park, that they presume, because this particular car has a trouble, something with the shifter. Explain what that is now that you know what it is.
Well, I've noticed that on some of the newer cars, I really started seeing it more so on the hybrids than anything else, but now I'm starting to see it in other cars. I was working on a BMW M6, which is like a high-performance BMW, and it was like the one that the boys died over at Jumbo Air.
Oh, okay.
Remember that story? It was a car like that one, and I had to stop and get gas, and you know, you have your gear shifter, you have park,
right.
You have reverse, neutral, drive, and then maybe 3, 2, 1 or whatever. And when we get done driving, we put the car in park, we turn off the key, and we get out, and it always stays where it's supposed to be. We're so used to that. But this particular car, there is no park, reverse, neutral. It's odd. There's just neutral, there's drive, and then there's 1. Yeah, okay. Depending on where you put the shifter, it's either going to be a drive or it's going to be in first gear.
Okay.
And then you manually shift it. Okay.
Really?
And then to go into reverse, it's kind of like you taking the gear shifter, you're in drive, you go to the middle, you go up, and then you come over.
Like
now you're in like almost like a
standard
manual transmission. Yeah. And that would put you in reverse. But I had to stop and get gas, and when I pulled in, it was a little incline, and I put it in neutral, and I hit the button because there's no key. I pushed the button, and the car engine shut off, and I went to go get out of the car, and it just started rolling down the parking lot. And there is no park.
Oh,
You have to set
What are they thinking?
the parking brake. There might be a park, but I couldn't figure out how to get it into a park.
Really?
And so, it was the first time I ever driven one of these cars. And I have seen other cars, Lexus and Toyotas and whatnot, that, especially on the hybrids, you put your foot on the brake, you push the button, the car starts, you put it in reverse or whatever, but there's no park. There's a button you push for park. You push the button, and it goes, and the transmission goes into park.
Okay, it's supposed to do it.
Supposed to. And I was driving one day, and I parked in a parking lot, which was on a pretty good hill, and I hit the park button.
Right.
But I guess I didn't hit it right or something.
Oh my goodness!
And then I'm getting out of the car, and we're
crazy.
just rolling away.
Have that design flaw.
And I don't know if it's so much. We're so used to taking our car and putting it in park.
And you feel that little clunk. You feel that little something. Yeah.
Is it something that we will we'll learn to adapt to? More than likely, if everybody does it this way,
I guess so, yeah.
We will learn to adapt to it. I've watched people adapt to cars so much. When people think they have a problem, and they're not having a problem, what it's doing is normal. They got to learn that that's the new normal.
Wow. Yeah, but I think the fact that they're recalling them says something.
Right. They're having a problem with their parts.
All right, you have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Matt.
Good morning, Matt. I'm Mike McCoy.
Yes.
Yeah, I just I wanted to make a comment about this. People don't realize today the complexity of the systems in the cars. The only way that I can usually explain it to them is like you have on your TV with your cable TV, you have one cable that comes in, but all of the channels come across that cable. You don't have a wire for every single cable channel that comes in. It's all sent along a wire. And today's vehicles, they have basically the same thing, right, Matt?
Yeah.
And when it's CAN bus, it's called CAN. And what that is, it's a network. And it may take a signal from one part of the car, and they will, under the dash, you may have a lot of you'll have computers. Most people say, my car has a computer. My God, some of these cars have 20 computers.
That's right.
It's not one computer. And all of this information is taken and analyzed. You may only have one, let's just say, it's not like some of it's not wire, even fiber optic, right, Matt?
Yep.
And it goes from one end of the car to the other. And a lot of information. When you turn on that signal light, your turn signal, it may not be going down one wire that's dedicated to that turn signal. It may be going down a bus wire that goes down and goes into a processor in the back of the car, and that processor transmits or converts that information to say, hey, let's turn on the left turn signal. It's not a wire for wire. Even your accelerator pedal, and how many cars today have an accelerator cable on them, Matt? Not many, right?
Not many anymore.
It's all drive-by-wire.
Yep.
You push and they put a spring on the accelerator pedal to make you feel like you're pushing the throttle, but you're really just pushing against a spring and a potentiometer underneath the dash that's not connected in any way to that throttle under the car except by an electric wire. So with all of this technology, absolutely, we're going to have problems. We're definitely going to have problems. And when situations happen that we have accidents, and like this guy, it's amazing. It is amazing how many accidents happen because people expect their car to react the way that it did when they were, back in the day when you pushed a brake pedal down, the parking brake pedal, it pushed a cable, and a cable pulled the rear brake shoes, and you manually locked the brakes. I've got a BMW 7 Series in the shop right now that when you want to park, the parking brake is you push a button on the dash.
Right.
It actuates a mechanical actuator in the back near the trunk, and it rotates a gear it has a sensor in it to tell it when it's in park, when you're parking the car. And this pulls a cable, and that's what actuates the brake. There's nothing attaching your foot or your hand.
You would think that the parking brake would still be the old-fashioned one, just as a fallback.
No.
Well, it's too hard to push a brake pedal. It's too complicated to push a brake pedal down.
Wow, that is crazy. That one decision, yeah.
There's so many that are just completely. It's all computerized today. That so much stuff, and you are going to have these issues, and it's something we're just going to have to work through in the industry. It's going to have to come out.
And I would say this, for the amount of the systems that are in these new cars today, I'm at my shop and I'm on my computer in my office, and I will have, let's say, an instance where something will come up and it'll say restart computer. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay. I'll restart the computer. Not a big deal,
right?
But you're in your car. Everything's controlled by, and it's like Mike was saying, it's not a computer. I think the last time I was messing around with a newer Cadillac, and I think I had to go into, I think it was about 36 computers in a Cadillac.
Wow.
36 computers in a Cadillac that all 36 of these computers had to be able to talk to each other, not just like the ABS control module, which controls your ABS, your anti-lock brake system, but that module that controls ABS is also looking at the information coming from the instrument cluster. That's looking at the information coming from the body control module. That's looking at and all of these systems is like he was saying, is called a CAN bus. Mm-hmm. And it's you picture it like this. There's a bus going down the highway, mm-hmm. and all of these systems are the passengers, and they all get on the same bus. And they all have to be on their bus, and they have to be in their assigned seating for everything to work right. And if one person doesn't get on the bus, it screws up the whole system. Everything gets messed up. And if he doesn't get off in the right place. And if he does, that's exactly right. It messes up everything.
Really? Oh my gosh. Thank you, Mike, for the call. We're wrapping it up. Gosh, that is scary, fascinating, and scary. Yeah, scary twice. Matt, what's your phone number?
My phone number is 352-690-1993.
Go see Matt if you need your car repaired. That's where I go. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Larry.
We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Donald Trump tells Fox and Friends he'd like more backing from his own party.
In some ways, I get more support from the Democrats than I do the Republicans. Some of the Republicans